Cheers! Welcome to Movie Bitches!
Episode 261.
Today we're reviewing, oh boy, the Requin. Requin. Requin? The Requin. I don't know why this title.
We'll talk about it.
Okay, but first things first, shout out to our wine sponsor, Wink. Go to trywink.com/moviebitches. You get $22 off your first month of wine. I did it out of order. Really, first things first, shout out to our Patreon supporters. $5 a month gets you early access. $10 gets you access to our viewing parties. This one, we didn't do a viewing party, but honestly, you're probably better off.
I mean, we'll get there.
Yeah. Third things third, make sure to subscribe, share, follow us on Instagram, Twitter, tell all your friends to follow us, subscribe. We want to get that play button. Really, that's my goal for 2022. I'm putting it out there.
Manifest that
Yes.
shit. Andrew
put it
wants
in my vision board. I'm going to put like a little printed out one, just pretend like it's there and put it on my wall.
Laminate it.
Yeah.
So yes, the Requin from 2021 to...
I had never heard of this movie until you said, Andrew, there's a new shark movie with Alicia Silverstone. Alicia.
My dear Alicia.
I had never heard of this movie until Rick.
I do remember specifically being named a shark movie expert and being very proud of myself. This is where you insert like a photo of my credentials that I showed you, of just like this stack of DVDs of horrible movies I bought.
Our resident shark expert informed me that there was a shark movie with Alicia Silverstone. And I said, oh my, we have to watch this.
Yeah.
Similar themes. I feel like we've seen so many shark movies at this point.
Yes.
I don't know. I could probably write a dissertation about the...
Oh.
What?
No, I thought you were going to say you could probably write a screenplay or 12.
Certainly write a screenplay or 12.
I was going to say that I came up with one in my head.
Ooh.
While I was bored with this one. You know, they went on this vacation to Vietnam or somewhere. I mean, they claimed...
It was Vietnam.
Well, they claimed it was Vietnam. I don't know if it was
the
filmed in Vietnam.
Story of the movie.
Right. I don't know if they filmed it in Vietnam, but thereabouts. And I was like, ooh, yes, vacation. Love it. And I was like, ooh, how do we get one to take place in Italy? And then I was like, okay, great.
Sicily.
Well, yes, Sicily, or I figured Naples, where the mafia is really big. And you could do swimming with the fishes. And they, like, someone doesn't actually die.
With sharks.
Well, he doesn't actually die, but then he has to contend with a shark. And then maybe at the end, he, like, rides the shark with a laser beam to try and get revenge on the mafia. I haven't decided yet.
I mean, we're still working on our script for Sharks in a Mall.
Oh, Sharks in a Mall. That's a good one. That's based on a true alligator event.
In fact, it is.
That's not the shirt you're wearing.
Oh, no! I was going to wear the shirt, and then I forgot.
Go to moviebitches.threadless.com.
Also, speaking of Rick, go to Rick's Redbubble page, where he has tons and tons of his fabulous personal designs, and you can get all sorts of really wonderful things. So go check it out.
I approve this message. I am Rick, and I approve this message.
I was going to say I could write a dissertation about, I don't know what it is about traumatized women who find themselves alone, battling their trauma.
It's a movie about trauma. It's a movie about trauma. The movie is about trauma.
That is metaphorically represented in a shark and literally represented in a shark.
Yep.
To overcome said trauma with more trauma to then move forward with their lives.
Right.
They made a movie about female trauma. Trauma.
After having defeated said evil shark.
Right.
That only wants her.
Only her. Well, it did eat her husband and that other guy.
But I think to get to her, I'm going to say this shark was out for her blood.
Maybe.
My leg.
My
leg. Look. A shark. A shark bit me. It's so bad.
So yes, the Requin, which we found out is how you say shark in French.
Yes, and Vietnam was a French, occupied colony.
Because I was like, huh? I guess maybe that I had a guess that was why.
I mean, I don't know what it has to do with anything, bitch.
I mean, no.
Aside from obviously there is a shark, but like, okay.
Very misleading poster. Very
I didn't see it.
It's just like a, it's
like...
Oh,
yeah, it's like a giant shark with this like,
No, this movie has about 4% shark.
Yes. Well, so the movie starts pregnant belly.
Well, no. Luminous smoke. Or, CGI'd smoke. Smoke. And I'm going, what does this have to do with anything, bitch? And then, yes, we zoom in on, I was going, now, what is this taut? Oh my God, it's a pregnant belly.
Yeah.
And Alicia wakes up in a CGI'd hotel room. Everything on the edges of every frame looked fake.
Yes.
Like a weird, cartoony, CGI'd. By the end of this movie, it was sort of this experimental video game.
It was kind of video gamey.
Movie. I don't know. At a certain point, I was like, is this great? It's not.
No.
But something's happening. It's trying to do something.
Sure.
At a certain point, it got borderline experimental. That's all I'll say.
I think that's generous. I think more than anything, they probably ran out of money. Like, I think it was just limitations and making it work. But
if they then in post were like, let's lean in to this dream sequence.
Right. I am not familiar with tropical beach fog.
I don't know what, I mean, it was, I don't know what the geography of, I don't know. All they had was Alicia.
Yep.
And a beach.
And a green screen.
And a green screen. So yes, it starts and smoke and billowy and she wakes up and they're on, I thought this was like a floating yacht, but it turns out it's one of those like Bora Bora hotel across the ocean.
Correct. Now I will point this out.
Yeah.
Typically, those types of, resorts are in like a protected body of water. Like a bay or a key or something that's like, not going to be subject to a storm surge.
I mean, yes. So they're having trouble in their marriage.
Right.
Something has happened. We can only assume it's a miscarriage.
I mean, it was pretty clear, especially when she talks to her mom and sister. It was like very clear that she'd miscarried.
In that very real, awkward, uncomfortable, horrible FaceTiming with your family scene.
Yes.
I was like,
that was the
this
most
is
real.
So real.
Where her mom is literally like, I love you, sweetie, but I hate this. So let's wrap this up. And I was like, yep.
I can't stand this. Let's get off.
But you guys have fun out there. Just forget about everything.
That's right.
She's looking off like, oh, I don't want to look at myself in the FaceTime. And like, it was all too real. And I was just like, oh. That's why there was moments where I was like, simultaneously, I felt like Alicia Silverstone was giving the worst performance I've ever seen. But it crossed over to so realistically odd at times that I was like, I don't know. Maybe we nominate her for a Razzie and an Oscar for the same performance.
Hey, over here! Over here! Hey!
I mean, not an Oscar, but sure.
A Golden Globe and a Razzie for the same performance.
Yes. There were peaks and valleys, let's say that.
She rose and she fell.
Yes.
And
kind of like Amy Adams in her Razzie-nominated performance in Woman in the Window.
She was nominated for that? I didn't know. Yeah, she wasn't good in that.
No.
Well,
I'm trying to remember what we saw Alicia... Oh, the Diane Keaton movie, Book Club?
Oh,
where she was the horrible daughter that was just like, God, Mom, you're such a bitch, or whatever. It was like,
God, Mom, just go to an old folks home. We don't care anymore.
Yeah,
God.
You're so difficult. No.
It was that. That's right.
And then I also saw her in, it was like a remake. She plays the mom. Oh, God, it was like an 80s movie that they remade in LA. It takes place in like the Valley, maybe called The Valley. Is that a thing? Valley Girl?
They remade Valley Girl?
I think so.
No.
It was actually pretty decent.
Okay. And
she was good in that as the mom, mostly because it's just her doing her little thing where it's like, oh, honey, here I am on the couch,
Alicia's great in the roles that Alicia was born to play.
Which is woman eating carrots on a couch.
Thank you, Josh. I so need lessons from you on how to be cool. Tell me that part about Kenny G again.
So her husband has said, I know you just went through a horrible trauma losing our child in this
stillbirth in a water birth.
A water birth stillbirth situation.
Yeah.
I'm going to take you on a really expensive vacation where I know you're already probably feeling weird about your body because you just had a miscarriage. Let's go to somewhere you have to wear a bathing suit all the time.
Yeah.
And, that's really going to work
And
out
water.
For her psyche.
Water
and
for your water trauma.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Let's do it. I hated him.
I understand what you're saying. It was too dangerous.
Maybe for you, but I could have gone for us.
You were hanging off the side of the house. Do you remember going underneath the house?
And who put me down there?
They were both awful. It was like watching a two-person play, like a sad drama.
Yep.
We did everything we could. You hemorrhaged. She didn't have a chance.
No, it isn't me.
Where the whole thing takes place in one set between a husband and wife who are breaking up over a miscarriage.
Yeah.
Except there's a shark.
Well, there's not for an hour.
Yeah, there's not a lot of shark,
No.
but there is. Okay, they're trying to repair their marriage. It's not going well.
No, he's like, come on, come in. They snorkel. They have a great time.
He's
She's
splashy,
like, we should have done
splashy,
this. Yeah.
pushes her in the water, and
Yeah,
I was
not
like,
okay.
dude.
Yeah.
I hate you. Don't. I'm gonna get in.
Don't pull her in. That's not right. Then he cuts himself on a reef.
Yeah.
And he keeps saying it's not your fault. And I was like, of course it's not. You're the one who stepped on the reef. What the fuck are you talking about?
Everything was her fault to him.
Well,
everything was her. He was better. Everything that
Yes.
he could do. What do we do? You make the decision. You make the decision. You hold the water bottle and try and catch it on fire so we can burn our own shelter down. Honey, you're better at that.
well.
No, it's too wet. Hey, honey, get out of here! No!
I will say there was, I think, perhaps
It was realistic.
Yeah, well, and also perhaps you could read into like his side of the trauma was that he felt like he couldn't provide, he couldn't soothe, he couldn't comfort. He didn't know how to make it right. It wasn't well written enough that it was really saying
it
that.
wasn't well written.
No.
Period. End of sentence. I question whether it was a script, whether or not there was a script or not. I genuinely was like, I think they just let the cameras go and said, here you go. Here's the framework.
Maybe.
Kyle!
That's ridiculous!
I can't believe it. We always do it your way. It's always your way.
Stop! Stop it. I need to focus.
Oh my God, Kyle! It was a lot.
So then this was right, of course they kept teasing like, ooh, the shark, right?
Well, there'd be long shots where I kept being like, is the shark gonna just jump out of the water? And, No.
No. He bleeds, but it doesn't matter. Then there's a storm, and then...
Well, I mean, this phone call. They're asleep in the middle of the night.
Yeah.
They say we can relocate if we want.
Oh, I don't think there's anything to worry about.
Oh, well, because we didn't talk about how there's no Wi-Fi in the room.
Right.
The one place where you, as a hotel, would definitely want to
Put it.
provide a router for Wi-Fi.
I mean, I guess if you're like retreat and it's, a little boardwalk thing, but there's power, so why isn't there Wi-Fi? There's a phone, why isn't there Wi-Fi?
It just seemed weird that she was like, there's no Wi-Fi in the room.
Yeah.
And she's obsessed with her phone.
Yes.
And that had some bleak opinions about where we're at in society. So she's all traumatized from him getting his foot cut.
Right.
And he's like, well, let's leave. It's fine. We'll leave early.
Yes.
And we'll go.
We can leave in the morning. Maybe the hotel will give us our money back. And you don't have to worry. I mean, you can start posting tomorrow how great our trip was.
You can start posting about what a great vacation we had tomorrow. And I was like, whoa, bleak.
Yes.
Real, very real.
I think especially though, again, I think his point was like that she won't have to deal with her friends being like, oh, it was a mistake that you went on the trip. Oh, it was terrible. Oh, I think it was like, but don't worry, people won't be like, wow, you had a
How sad that it's like, because later on she says,
you had to go fancy. I'm not impressed. It only matters if I live to tell someone about it.
the fancy vacation doesn't matter at all if I don't live to tell everyone about it.
That is true.
And I was like, oh girl, your priorities are okay. You're
Yeah.
going through it.
Yeah.
You're going through it.
Well, they did say it sort of jokingly, but also it was a little real.
Oh, it was, yeah. It was, somehow there was some really real stuff in this movie, even
Yeah.
though it is terrible.
Terrible.
It's not good. So yeah, they're asleep in the middle of the night and the hotel phone rings.
Oh, wait, well, because she's on the FaceTime and she's looking at the news that said that it was going from sunny to, like, storm. And I was like, that seems like maybe something that you would pay attention to.
And they
But-
keep saying it's off season.
Right. Okay. You should have expected this. Also, then why would it be expensive? But whatever. Doesn't matter.
Gotta get that deal.
They seem to really focus on the expense of the room.
He did.
Getting a discount on this room.
I mean, it was like a harrowing play
Yes.
about this marriage falling apart. It was like a Cassavetes movie, but then there's a shark.
There's a shark. But anyway, so they set it up, and then it was just like the storm and whatever, and I see where this is going. I'm like getting flashbacks of the impossible, and I was just like, oh no, not
I
this.
did too. I was
Yes.
like, oh no, it will never go there because this movie's bad. But
Right.
oh,
But,
oh, oh,
yeah.
oh,
Like it was like PTSD from that
oh,
movie still.
for real.
Yeah. There was that TIFF movie too where Naomi Watts, tourism boards must hate her because she always plays these parts where like she'll go to like some tropical island or whatever it is and then tragedy besets.
What? I don't know what other one you're talking about.
I forget what it was called. It's based on a true alligator event. She like goes on this like Thai vacation with her family. They were like up on the roof looking at the sunset of their building, whatever, and the railing just falls apart and she falls off of the roof and gets paralyzed. And she was like a surfer and whatever.
Oh no.
And so she like literally like gets really dark and deep and depressed and loses her will to live, and her family is just like dealing with her now like paraplegic or quadriplegic, whatever it was, like mom paraplegic, I think.
Oh no.
Then this bird comes into their house like a swallow or whatever.
An apparition. A bird.
And
I'm sorry, I don't mean to
it's
laugh.
very I believe in you actually. Because then they like bring in this bird and nurse it to health, and it becomes this like family mascot of like a metaphor for her and her recovery, and she's inspired by the bird.
Okay.
And then she like goes surfing again, but like with like they do like a paraplegic surfing or whatever.
Right.
It was the whole thing. It was decent, the movie.
Yeah.
But anyway, I was just like,
Wow.
what is her deal with like resort locations?
She's
and
like, I
tragedy?
want to go on vacation to film, but I also want to make a serious drama.
Yes.
So it's both
Very
things
that.
at once.
Very that.
Oh my god! Oh my god!
Love you, so go.
And this then got so absurdly stupid.
Oh my god. This storm comes and hilarious Sims level CGI scene.
Kyle, wake up!
The wave crashes against the bungalow and it detaches completely and starts floating away on its own. Thank God the hotel thought to put pontoons on the bottom of this hotel room.
Is that what it was?
No, I don't know. This is nonsense.
It was nonsense. I couldn't figure out why it was so floaty.
It was like a ship.
Yes.
A room that was a ship.
Yes. And then I was like, well, I mean, they didn't mean to burn it down, but I was like, you
Oh
guys
my
have
God.
a pretty decent situation for being lost at sea.
Yes.
And they had the sheets that were collecting the water, all sorts of different things. Like it's not easy, but like that was a pretty cushy situation compared to some of
When
these movies.
they set their own shelter on fire, I was like, you guys can both die. I'm fine with it.
Also, how did that boat not see their giant flaming, like, someone would have seen that.
I don't know. They kept talking about just swimming to shore, and I was like, shore, you don't know where you are. You've been sleeping for 6 hours and drifting at sea.
Yeah.
It's like floating around, higgledy-piggledy, and she's flying around, and the husband gets his leg fucked up.
It crashes into a rock.
Yes.
And she's dangling off the side, and he shoves her down underneath, which does save her. I'm sure she would have been crushed.
Yes.
So good on him. But then she's like, well, we should just stay on this rock, and then they'll find us in the morning.
Good plan.
Or whatever. And he's like, no. We should stay on this floating boat.
Every wrong decision possible continuously, and I hated him.
Yeah, and then they wake up, and they had been dislodged from the rock, and they were
The fact that they could fall asleep.
I mean, I guess they were, like, shock and pain, like they passed out.
You keep watch. You are at sea. This is like horizon level nonsense. So they're floating in their hotel room in the middle of the sea.
Yes.
And they've both sort of, we've dozed, we're falling asleep. And
oh my God.
Suddenly.
Yeah.
Ow.
What is it?
Shit. You smell that?
Oh my God, my balls are on fire.
Yeah, it just scorched my balls.
Nonsense.
That happened.
That happened.
So anyway, yes, they see a ship in the distance.
Right.
And they are like, oh my God, great. You know what we got to do? Use that water bottle again and set our house on fire.
Right. Well, I think they were trying to just set a fire, but I was like, you guys are on a floating piece of wood. It seems dangerous.
So they set their whole thing on fire and it's, oh my God, like they're surprised.
Right.
Oh my God, we set a fire and now it's on
then they're
fire.
like, we have to jump off of it.
So they're floating on perfectly charred 2x4s.
And then his bloody, leaky leg leaves a trail, and then they're like, oh my God, it's a shark, but then it was dolphins.
Oh, but he doesn't believe her.
Well, right.
Because she's a hysterical woman.
There it is again.
I think maybe it's just the current.
She was like, oh my God, it's a shark. And he's like, let me check.
Just let me check, okay?
I was like, okay.
What is he checking for? What are we?
Checking for a shark?
Yeah. Oh, it's a shark. Oh, let's swim to that other thing.
You were right. That dolphin fake out kind of did get me. I liked that. That was fun.
Also, the horribly CGI dolphin and beautiful footage of dolphins playing and frolicking.
Oh yeah. Well, and then the wonderful dialogue of.
Oh, I fucking hate dolphins.
What? Their humor was inappropriate.
Well, it was
at times.
It was not endearing. Let's say that.
No.
Can you come pick up our bags?
Help me with this one.
Okay.
So he then finally apologizes, and they're having a moment of connection.
You're like my best friend. You're more than I'll ever have.
You're more than I'll ever have. What does that mean? It's this long "I love you" speech, and then he goes, "You're more than I'll ever have." What?
Huh?
Those are just words put together. I was like, wait. And I genuinely was sitting there because I was bored, what does that mean?
Are you sure that's what it was?
You're more than I'll ever have.
You're more than I'll ever have.
Because you're dead now? Isn't that when he dies?
No, he says that to her.
Yeah, but then doesn't he die?
Not yet, almost.
Okay, I thought that was when he bled out.
Well, she finds out later. This is when we get into the surreal dream sequence of it all. She's, I guess, hallucinating from being dehydrated, which makes sense.
Is she?
Is she?
She's hallucinating about the island?
Is she?
Well, how does she fight? Do you think she hallucinates the fisherman?
Is she?
I was out there in the ocean. My husband died.
I don't know. This became Serenity.
It was.
The Matthew McConaughey movie. He's hanging off the side and you're like, okay, so he's going to be eaten in half. Great. She's going to be like, oh my God. And then she was. That wide shot of... It's like a bird's eye view, and she's cradling his legless body, crying, and I was laughing so hard. The way it's edited together, it just was hysterical.
Yes.
And so it starts to be, sand fog.
Right.
And then in a vision, when he has his legs back, he says, do you remember what it was like to have that baby inside of you? That life is inside of you right now. And I was like,
do you remember the feeling of the baby inside you? The same life is inside you now.
what? Does that mean that she's pregnant again and doesn't realize it? And he's from the
I was wondering
psyche,
about that.
And I was like, what?
Yeah.
Never comes up again.
No.
And I was like, oh my God, they're gonna just cut to black and then fade up and she's in a hospital room and they're just gonna be like, congratulations, you're pregnant.
I mean, maybe.
They didn't.
No.
That's not what happened.
No.
At a certain point, I thought it was also going to fade to black, and all of this was going to be her hysterical pregnancy of
like water-related
It was
dreams,
like all
'cause
a
she
metaphor
was in
that she was like, oh my God, it was this crazy birth that I was dreaming about sharks and whatever, and it was all a dream.
Ooh, maybe, but no.
It wasn't.
So she's on this island, and I was like, well, that seems
Suddenly.
like a great idea. Your husband was just eaten by a shark and bled out. Maybe stay on this island, look around, see what you can find.
Then she's just wandering through fog.
Well, and then she climbs up this
hill and
big
dale. There's
rock
a
wall.
rock
But
and-
then on the other side of the
at that
rock...
point she's been bitten by a shark.
Right.
She's like kicking the shark and she's like, fuck you!
Fuck yeah!
That was great.
I laughed so loud.
So hard. Fuck you, shark! Yeah! And it's just like splashing and digital blood. Digital blood.
Yeah, right, because it's attacking him, and she's like stabbing it with a piece of wood that she
She says
found.
something like, you want some more? I'll give you some more! Or something,
my
and she's
God.
like going
That was, I
apeshit
thought,
on
with the
it.
propeller later.
That, oh my God, oh my God.
That's right, motherfucker. Not today.
Or she climbs up over this rock, and there's a guy, what are those called? I don't know, it's like a fisherman's pontoon
Yeah,
or
like
something.
a little basket, basically.
Yeah, a
For
fisher.
lack of a better word, yeah.
And she falls, he's asleep, falls into this thing. He doesn't speak English. And
Right.
she just keeps saying, my husband's dead. Can you take me home?
My husband died. Please, can you take me home?
And he's responding in, I assume, Vietnamese.
Right.
And she's like,
Cá mập cắn hả? Cá mập cắn phải không?
It's a shark in it.
Đi ra vậy?
Water, yeah.
Đi ra ai?
I was out there in the ocean.
And then,
he has to check his traps.
yeah, why does he go check his traps?
Because movie plot script.
Sure. So he's checking the traps, and then the shark, ha ha ha, comes out of nowhere.
Now, I have a question.
Uh-huh.
Were there multiple sharks? Because it seemed like there was multiple sharks.
It looked like there were 3 at one point, circling.
Great. Oh, she passes out from the pain, and
Right.
he goes to check on his traps and gets eaten by the shark. Ah! And she's trying to save him, and then he pulls her back in, and she's like, "Fuck this! I want to live."
Yeah, that was so weird. Why was he pulling her into the water?
I think he was trying to get up, and she was trying to, and it was,
Yeah.
ah.
Yeah. It felt like aggressive at one point where I was like, it seems like he's actively trying to.
Because he knows that shark wants her.
And he only had one arm right at this point. He's like climbing up
He's
the
climbing up the rope.
anchor.
Yeah.
There's like a big anchor for
Big anchor.
a tiny little boat. And I
Yeah.
was like,
Well, the anchor
okay.
comes in handy later.
Oh my God.
Oh my God. So then the shark is trying to ram the
Pontoon?
flip it over, and
Yeah.
and she gets the motor. I mean, this was like some Dead Alive, Army of Darkness, Evil
Yes.
Dead shit.
Yes. She's
This was
cranking the
straight
chain
up
on
just
this little
vroom,
tiny like
vroom,
lawnmower
vroom.
propeller motor.
And she's like, "Fuck off!" And the shark swims towards the blades,
right?
and repeatedly keeps trying to eat her.
It's like, and it's like cutting it up.
Was cackling. This was nonsense.
Nonsense.
Oh boy.
Yeah, so she cuts the shark the fuck, like just, and you're like, oh wow, okay, that shark's dead. And then the shark comes back?
Oh my God. The shark comes back for more because it wants her blood. I don't know.
Her blood?
Her blood. Maybe it's a Vamps crossover situation. Maybe.
It's a vampire shark.
It's a vampire shark. Now, would I watch that movie?
Absolutely.
100% I would watch that movie.
Yes.
Now, what would it be, though?
Like, how come the shark becomes a vampire? Or how come...
What's the plot?
Well, sharks already like blood.
Live forever.
Oh, well, sure, yes.
Live a very long time.
Yes.
Enjoy blood. Have many teeth. We're already halfway there.
Halfway there. So then maybe a shark eats a vampire. Mm-hmm. But...
And it makes it immortal?
It makes it a vampire shark. Because how do you become... Maybe, for some reason, the vampire is eating the shark or is sucking the
It's
the,
got
the
very-
blood of the shark
the
gets into the
vampire-
mouth of the vampire. So
Yeah,
then,
I like the idea that the vampire has very expensive taste and is eating shark fin soup. And
Right.
so in retribution, the shark eats the vampire.
I was thinking about that, except for vampires don't eat, famously, and only drink blood.
Right.
Isn't it that you have to both have each other's blood?
Well, you know, we can make up the rules.
And then sleep
You
under
know,
a full moon or
in
something
Twilight,
weird?
they can be in the sun. You know,
Right.
we can make up our own vampire rules.
But yeah,
vampire
so
shark
the
rules.
shark eats the vampire,
Yeah.
turns into a vampire shark,
Uh-huh.
and then has a taste only for human blood,
Uh-huh.
but likes to like let it bleed out so
But
that they
now,
can soak it all up
can
and
the
swim through it.
vampire shark
Mm-hmm.
turn people into vampires?
Only if they eat its blood.
Okay.
Right? That's how they have to drink the vampire blood
Mm-hmm.
to like become. What are we doing? So anyway, she can't get it. The shark comes back.
Andrew.
Yeah.
Does the vampire shark have a vampire bat familiar friend? And it's like, I believe in
Oh
you.
my god, a seagull vampire?
No, it's a bat. It's a vampire bat, right? But they're friends.
Okay.
I like it.
Bat.
Bat!
Bat! So yes, the shark comes back for more because it wants Alicia's vampire blood.
Pathetic. Pizza guy.
Pizza guy.
Wants it so bad that it swims so incredibly fast towards her, it impales itself on her anchor.
Well, no.
That's not what happened?
This was so confusing. So it runs at her again, flips the pontoon over.
Yes.
She's now like, I can't, like I'm underneath this.
She's
but
like, hey, Baba Reba. Hey, Baba Reba.
Hey, Baba Reba. Hey, Baba Reba. What the hell are you doing here?
Okay, yes?
This was confusing. I guess maybe it was further out to sea that the anchor was like pulling the boat further down on against the.
What I saw was for some reason when she was pulling the anchor up, the shark ran into it, impaling itself.
Well, okay, so that is what happened. No, okay, so here's what happened. She's like starting to drown and the shark is coming back at her. So she starts wrapping the rope around her.
Right.
Pulling the anchor
This was some
higher.
Ariel Silks level.
Yes.
It looked too perfect.
She took the Groupon with pink.
Yes, it was
She's
very confusing.
Wrapping herself up in this anchor cord so it's pulling the anchor back up.
That doesn't make sense.
As the shark is swimming only from the bottom for some strange reason up at her.
To get her.
Then she lets go and I guess spins around. It was unclear. So that the rope lets the anchor sink right back onto the shark, impaling it in its throat and killing it. Very confusing. Oh, right. But then, because it was pulling the boat down, then she had to like pull the rope easily off of the bottom of the boat.
At that point, it was easy because the movie was over.
Yes.
Yes.
I was like, that doesn't make any sense.
I forgot about the Ariel Silks.
Yes.
That was weird.
I was like, what the fuck is she doing?
That was very strange.
Yeah.
Very,
she had a plan.
Very strange indeed. When she was FaceTiming with her family, they should have been like, did you use our Groupon for that Ariel Silks class? I heard it really helped Tom and Kelly get their marriage back on track. It was like a real way of bonding. It's like a trust exercise. And then it would have been like full circle. Oh shit. Yes.
Let me get my thigh in that rope. I don't know. Nonsense.
Would have enjoyed it.
Yeah. So then what happens? Does she ever flip the boat back around? Or does she all of a sudden just be like, oh my God, I'm in the same bay where the hotel was this whole time?
It kind of was. It was kind of like, oh my God, look, there's the hotel.
Yeah.
Great.
And there's this woman. Oh, look at that. What's that?
And then she looks directly into the camera, breaking the fourth wall. And then it cuts to black.
Yep.
And not a Sia song was playing. It's quite strange.
Yeah. It ended so abruptly, and I was just like, what?
I can feel myself wake up.
I don't know. I found this to be interesting very bad.
Yes.
Hilarious at times.
At times.
And it was a shark movie.
That is true.
Ish.
It was not good, though. I wouldn't really say you should watch it, but I guess if you really like shark movies, you could.
I would say, if you don't care, watch the last half hour.
Yes.
It was wild.
Yeah.
It got bananas.
Yes.
So there's that.